Maybe you're really genuine when you give people advice, but you never seem to pick the right words and it always comes across wrong. And when people receive it, they just don't like it. Or maybe you just like telling people what to do. Regardless of your reasons for coming here, today we're going to walk you through the art of giving good advice. From the way to package it to the way to approach the subject. So the next time that you give someone a little bit of your personal insight, it's received better. So if you weren't aware, this is a conclusion to a 3-part series on how to be a better conversationalist. If you'd like to check out the first 2 videos on how to be a better listener and how to communicate more effectively, the links to those are in the description below. Thanks for checking me out. Back to the video. Alright, so let's take a hypothetical. A good friend of ours has just come to us with a problem. They've explained the ins and outs, and we have a good gist of what's going on. The first thing we're going to do is stop and ask them what they think is the best outcome and what they've already tried to do to solve their issue. If we know what their priorities are and the steps they've already taken to try and fix this, we'll have a better understanding of them. And when we're relating to their situation, we'll understand the steps they're trying to take to approach this. And if we have to offer any advice after this, it'll be a lot easier to know where they're coming from and where they're trying to go. Now that they've told us exactly what it is that they've been trying and what they've been doing to fix it, we ask them if they would like some input. A good way to phrase this would be, would you like to know what I think? Or would you like some advice? The idea here is that not everybody is telling you their problems and what they're doing because they want you to solve them. Sometimes they just want to get it off their chest. So assuming that they want you to give some input, our job here is to highlight the things that we see. What are the observations of the situation and the options that we see going forward? Ultimately, it's their responsibility to fix this problem, so the biggest thing when giving advice is just to tell them the roadmap we see. Perhaps we can offer some insight just by being the person to bounce things off of. Or sometimes having a second person highlight some things will really help. Either way, it is very important that most of this is just the observations that you see. Some of them might be wrong, and you guys can clarify that. But going forwards with this, it's important to lay out direction. Now, as you're trying to come up with a plan together and figure out a way to solve this, it's important that you consider a few things. The first thing is that you need to be a lot more passive and not very assertive when you're giving advice. Ways to phrase this would be, I would consider doing this if I was in your situation. Or, have you thought about maybe trying this? If you phrase it like you guys are on a team, or it's done in a very nonchalant way, people don't feel like they're being attacked. You need to remind them that you guys are working on tackling an issue, not them as a person. Sometimes people get really connected to their problems and they tie it to their identity. We got to make sure that we're unhooking those before we try and remove a problem. Otherwise, people might think it's a personal attack. Some clear-cut examples of this are when people tell you to clean up things after you leave them. That feels like an attack on your character instead of the mess at hand. Something you can do to help highlight your points is by relating them to things that they've already said. If you bring back points from before that you're considering approaching differently, consider using the same language they've already been using. This is a really good way to show people that you relate to them because you've been paying attention and understand what they've been saying. When presenting a new idea or maybe a new spin on things, if you bring some of the same language to the table that they've already been using, they understood that they've been heard, and they'll be more open to considering what you have to say. Just remember, at the end of the day, if you guys open up a conversation around advice, all you're doing is trying to create a dialogue where you guys are discussing a new problem. It should be very mellow and understand that they're being vulnerable by coming to you with their problems. So try not to push your own narrative and just slowly work together on ways to fix it. So yeah, that was just a brief outline of how to approach advice better. If you look at advice objectively and think of it more as a problem-solving tool, I think you'll have better success. Anyways, that's everything from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it to the end, you're the real hero. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.